The Minnesota Vikings are currently in joint practices with the Cleveland Browns. That's because we take them on this Saturday for week 2 of preseason football at 3:25 p.m. Central Time. And boy, have things been getting pretty tough. We've suffered a couple more injuries other than the Jordan Addison injury. What was it? Blake Cashman suffered a finger injury, which resulted in surgery, which he's going to be out until the stitches fully heal. So probably basically, just a week, maybe a little over a week, but he should be good. But today we're going to talk about some observations from the first couple days of the joint practices with the Cleveland Browns, starting off right off the bat with the superstars are basically stealing the show, if you will. Show of superstars force. The Vikings fans have become quite accustomed to seeing Justin Jefferson doing Justin Jefferson things. That continued against a strong defensive backs group of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Jefferson continued to show the positive chemistry he's developing with Sam Darnold as the duo worked for some short and intermediate completions in 7-on-7 and team periods, as well as a deep touchdown during the team portion. So Justin Jefferson, okay, picked up right where he left off last season after he, healed from the hamstring injury and stuff like that. But on the other side, Myles Garrett, force to be reckoned with. He's also showing his face literally everywhere at training camp, okay, in joint practices right in front of Sam Darnold, just giving it to the Vikings offensive line. So let's talk about Myles Garrett just a little bit. Now, listed at 6'4", 272 pounds, Garrett maximizes his power and is capable of speed and movement abilities to, well, wreak havoc, and I'm sure everyone has seen it, okay? He's basically doing some basketball moves out there. You see him do the fake between the leg dribbles, and he's jumping over the offensive line. I mean, this dude's an absolute freak of nature, okay? Now, Garrett also impressed in reps against Vikings left tackle Kristen Darisaw and right tackle Brian O'Neill. Darisaw explained his impression of Garrett to the Athletics' Alec Lewis, basically just stating, hey, this guy is an absolute beast on the football field. Now, Garrett also set the pace for an active Browns defensive line that is without a few players. Former Vikings defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson and defensive end or edge rusher Zadarius Smith did not participate right now, but it is maintaining its feistiness. Okay, they're a dirty group in a good way. Darnold faced some dirty pockets multiple times. Perhaps his best throw of the day occurred during one such instance. He withstood pressure and fired a strike to Tristan Jackson, which I believe is the other receiver that did go down with an injury, which led Kevin O'Connell to go over to the Browns defense coordinator and say, hey, can we tone it down a little bit? Let's wait for Saturday, okay? We have too many injuries on our roster, which I don't blame him. We have to get through that. So the second observation, which I don't like completely, but I also feel like it might be a little fugazi, okay? It might not be real, but the run game has faced some challenges against this Cleveland Browns defense. O'Connell has utilized the phrase play style in multiple instances during this year's training camp. Now, the phrase is intended to apply toward an effectiveness by the offense in the run game and pass protection, as well as the defense shutting down an opponent. But Minnesota was well pleased with the success in the run game in its preseason opener, where the Vikings averaged 6.5 yards per carry and suffered one negative play for only a loss of 2 yards. Now, the run game, however, might have a little way to go based on the run stuffs the Browns were able to record during team periods. But you also have to take in mind the Cleveland Browns have a pretty stellar defense. They have a tough defensive line, especially with Myles Garrett up there. And if you add Zadarius Smith to the mix and Dalvin Tomlinson to the mix, it's going to be pretty tough to run the ball against the Cleveland Browns in general. It doesn't matter what NFL team you are. It doesn't matter if you're Saquon Barkley. It doesn't matter if you're Christian McCaffrey. It's still going to be tough. Okay, it's a hard game when you're going up against that crew in Cleveland. Now, the third observation, which I think is okay, but it's something we have to keep in mind: the defense versus the Browns offense. Now, most of the attention was on the field with the Vikings offense going against the Browns defense on Wednesday, but the ClevelandBrowns.com staff writer and content creator Kelsey Russo spent more time tracking the Cleveland offense and Minnesota defense. Russo noted that Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, who has been recovering from an injury and is not likely to play this Saturday, found connections with receivers Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper, as well as tight end David Njoku. The Vikings defense countered, though, okay, with Cam Bynum picking off a pass and breaking up another, which was intended for Elijah Moore. Blake Cashman also recorded an interception, and Ivan Pace Jr. was in the backfield for what would have been a sack. And Jay Ward was also rewarded or recorded a pass breakup. Okay, so there's some struggles coming out of that Deshaun Watson backfield, if you will, or the position that he plays at quarterback. Deshaun Watson struggled a lot last year. He struggled the year before that. That's because he took a couple years away from the game, and that usually doesn't bode well when you're trying to be a franchise quarterback for a team that wants to pay you a lot of money. But hey, I'm not taking any shots. I think it was too much. I think it was ridiculous, but it is what it is. He's going to struggle. But again, this is only joint practice. This is training camp. Teams are trying to get better. We're just, basically going up and really learning a little bit more about our teams, right? So the Browns are going to get some highlights and some lowlights. So are our Minnesota Vikings. We're going to see a lot of good things. We're going to see a lot of bad things. It's just that's how the cookie crumbles, if you will. But this weekend we'll really see who is the better team, or I guess at this point in the season, okay, because it's only preseason, so you got a bunch of backups playing, third stringers, fourth stringers. You get it. You go down the line. But hey, again, we'll still wait to Saturday to see which team comes out victorious. But the Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings continue their joint practices, I believe, until the game on Saturday. So you guys let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skull Vikes.